and welcome to the 70th episode of Recluse Horror. This is a daily horror movie review podcast. So just a little background on the project. Back on my birthday in April, I decided I wanted to watch and review a horror movie every single day. I have done so for the past 337 days, although only the last 70 have been podcasts. Before that, it was text reviews. So with me again today is Sam.
Hey.
And today we are actually going to do two movies. It was unplanned. On some episodes, I talk about two movies, one of which I've watched that very night, and another that I reviewed previously in text, in which I just go over whatever impressions I have left, aided by the text review. And Sam, the second movie that we're going to do, Sam doesn't know yet.
Are you going to tell me, or is it a surprise? Or?
Yeah, I'll tell you. We'll get to it. So today, Sam decided he's gonna get healthy. He's trying to work on getting his circulation up, and
for my health,
for his health, and so he's been drinking water. Which, Sam, how frequently would you say that you usually drink water?
All the time, because there's water and soda and water and other things like that.
Coffee and soda contains water.
Tea has water.
Tea has water, yeah. Uh-huh.
And I mostly drink those things.
No, you mostly drink Coke.
Yeah, and there's water in Coke. Otherwise, how could they make it?
It's mostly syrup and carbonation.
There's water and syrup, too. People don't understand. People are mostly water.
People are mostly
water. And we're not even you, though. And we're not even syrup.
You're not mostly water. I would say 4 to 6% less water than most humans.
Well, ask me how I'm feeling now that I'm getting so healthy.
Sam, how are you feeling now that you're getting so healthy?
I feel fucking terrible.
So, Sam, I actually watched him drink his entire daily allotment of water that he's supposed to drink, and he kept trying to, I won't say weasel out of it, because that's not accurate, but he kept, his brain could not comprehend how much water he's supposed to be drinking.
I want to throw up so bad. You have no idea. Which would be the complete opposite of drinking water, drinking the water. It would totally, completely...
Because not only does it get rid of the water, it's going to get rid of some of your electrolytes and food and all of that stuff. Oh, yeah.
So
you
insisted that I talk about it on the podcast, because you're a bastard, I guess.
So anyway, that was all to say we may be taking breaks in this podcast. I'll cut them out, of course. But Sam has had to pee every 2.5 minutes.
I'm holding on to a bathroom break right now. I'm hoping I can finish this movie.
Okay. So the first one that we watched is another short film, and basically just to torture Sam. I did look for one that specifically had water. And this one is called Night Swim from 2014. So, Sam, how did you like Night Swim from 2014?
It's hard to say. This really has a lot of ups and downs and good aspects to bad aspects.
I'd say there's some really high highs and some pretty low lows.
Yeah, in a way. So I guess I would just be like it's okay, it's an okay.
Yeah. It's well shot.
Yeah.
Made me want to swim. Made me want to pool really bad. So basically the only thing that you can say about this one without just telling you what happened, which would only take 3 sentences, is that it's about a person, a woman, in fact. Is that a spoiler? Is that the level of spoiler that there is in this one?
Yes.
Okay, well, there's your spoiler.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, it's a woman. She's swimming at night, and then it turns into a horror movie, and that's really all that you can say, because anything beyond that is a spoiler, because almost nothing happens. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Okay. So, as I said, it's shot really well. The lighting is very good. There's a cool cat in it, and, there's some really neat underwater shots, which is not something...
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, not something that's very easily accomplished by short film makers, generally independent filmmakers. And they were good, too. There wasn't anything... The acting, how did you feel about the acting?
There's not much acting, but it's fine.
But it's fine, yeah. I would say so, too. There's, 3 lines in this, maybe? Consisting of a total of maybe 6 words, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, not a whole lot, not a whole lot going on there. See, that's my major gripe. So yesterday, you weren't here for this one, but I did a movie called Peephole, and I wasn't able to talk about it, but stuff happened.
And that's why you couldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Things were happening.
Because things were happening. This one we can't talk about because literally it feels like almost nothing happens in this. You learn nothing.
Yeah, this is even a spoiler. There's a lady in a pool, then something happens.
Yeah, that's a spoiler.
And I almost spoiled the whole movie.
The first 2 acts.
Yeah, it said it was 4 minutes long.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 55 seconds.
But I think it was only 2 minutes. And there was a minute and whatever amount of credits. So that was kind of weird.
Yeah, wouldn't have been my choice. It's not bad. It looks very good. And it's I don't know. The horror elements I feel like aren't there. Even the ones that are there aren't there. Does that make sense at all to you?
Kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd agree that much on that one.
I mean, it's definitely a horror short. Yeah. But they are just the horror elements are lacking.
It's not even a trailer worth
No, more happens in trailers.
Of footage.
Yeah.
It is because it's as long as a trailer. But, a lot of the shots are just held shots, held on what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And they're good shots.
The cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Our cat friend. It's one of those tortoiseshell cats.
A big thing that I liked and disliked was the music.
Yes.
There's music playing throughout the thing. And I like the feel of the music, but it was just so reminiscent of other movies.
Media.
Yeah, and other media. Specifically Fallout. It sounded like a song from Fallout.
Yeah, it's just this old
ragtime-esque.
Yeah.
And it kind of played the same purpose of Jeepers Creepers.
Mm-hmm. That song
Jeepers Creepers. Yeah. It had the same kind of, and I liked it. I thought it worked well in the movie. It's just something I've seen.
Well, and my gripe with it, yes, I have seen it. In fact, I've seen it very recently. But the thing that I took away from it is that it A, serves no purpose to be so strange, and B, it seems out of character for the person. And you know nothing about the character, but you do not see this character as a person who would listen to ragtime and swim at night by herself.
Yeah, that is actually pretty weird.
Yeah. That it's that small and it still seems to contradict it.
It was just a little thing. It actually really didn't bug me that much.
No.
It was just a thing I was thinking.
Yeah. It's a nice song, though.
It didn't detract from the movie.
No, not really.
Opinion.
No.
It just being so...
There's so little to talk about that you have to talk about all of those little tiny nitpicky details.
Yeah, it's just one of the only things to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the lighting was good, the acting was okay.
Yeah.
It was shot well. Nice, yeah. You know what's happening the whole time, you know, for what the story is.
Yeah.
So that was really the only thing that I was that's the only
thing to focus on.
A little weird, especially with the aesthetic of the movie. The movie's not old timey.
No, not at all.
And it doesn't
very modern looking pool.
Yeah, I modern music of some sort. Or retro modern of some sort.
Hell, even classical I would have bought. If you don't have the money to buy the rights to something,
that would make more sense. Yeah, but
more than ragtime.
But even still, I think a synth track probably would have been the most fitting. Yeah,
with the aesthetic and with
and
it would fit with the character fine. You don't have anything to contradict that she would be interested in that style of music. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nitpick kind of it's
again. Yeah, it's not a big deal. I also the cat served no purpose other than being cute, which it did effectively.
It was a cute cat.
But there's no purpose to having it. It doesn't play any part. So there's just a lot that doesn't play any part. Speaking of cats, see we said cat. So we had the cat came and visited us again. Like I said, my roommate's out of town. My roommate whose cat this is out of town, and apparently if you say the word cat when nobody else is here...
You gotta say it 3 times in the mirror.
I think we did say it 3 times. I don't have a mirror. But so, if you hear any weird cat noises, it's because there's a cute cat in here. And Sam won't ever leave her alone. And Sam did go pee for all those.
We had a cat and restroom break.
Cat and restroom break.
Like every podcast has, I'm sure.
I also switched into my pajamas. It's been a really effective break. What were we talking about before the cat? We were talking about the cat, how it doesn't tie in, right?
Yeah, the movie was not a movie.
No, it wasn't a movie.
It was okay.
Yeah.
We were mostly done with it, I think.
I think so, too.
What was the other one?
Well, okay, well, no. The reason why we have to do a second movie, because I wasn't planning on doing one. The director of this, and this is a... he's just holding the cat, huh? Okay. The director of this, or one of the 2 directors of this short film, his name is... One moment. Rod Blackhurst.
Mm-hmm.
Now that, when I looked up Night Swim, the one that we were talking about, that name sounded really familiar. And the reason why is he directed Here Alone. Do you remember that one?
Nope.
Okay. I'll refresh you while you take another bathroom break in 2 minutes.
Maybe. But
anyway, he did another one, and he also did something that most people would be more familiar with rather than Here Alone, is Amanda Knox. It's the documentary about Amanda Knox, who is it's a true crime thing. I won't get into it because those bum people out, but it's a true crime documentary that he did that was pretty well received, I think. Night Swim was the last thing he did before he started moving into feature lengths.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did Night Swim, and then Here Alone, and then Amanda Knox, and then now he's got 2 other things in the works right now. Yeah, I thought directing-wise, I totally understand why he was picked up after this. Would you say the same?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I would say that the writing on this needed some work, but the directing was very good. You can't direct around a script with no words in it.
Yeah, it's barely even the writing. It just was like a tiny concept.
Yeah, it's a concept with no execution because there's nothing to execute.
Yeah, exactly. Not that
it's fine for what it is. Yeah. It's fine for what it is. It just is nothing. And especially coming off the back of what I saw yesterday that you weren't here for, but that was a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it was shorter than this. So we had to stop again for the cat. That poor cat. It misses its mommy.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about that other movie. So yeah, from this movie you can totally see, how he would move into feature lengths from there. It was very well directed, even if there wasn't really much of a script to execute. I mean, I can't imagine the script was longer than 2 pages. And really that would be kind of pushing it. But yeah, I mean, directing-wise, it was very good. So that is our review of Night Swim from 2014. Did you have anything else to say about it? Okay. So, as you might have guessed from our last review ending the way that it had, we're going to talk about Here Alone from 2016 next, which again was directed by Rod Blackhurst, the same person who did Night Swim. Sam, what did you think about Here Alone?
It's been a minute since I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm having a hard time remembering exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just kind of middling for me.
Middling?
Okay. There's some specifics I want to talk about, but what about you?
I thought it wasn't too bad. It would definitely, it's something that I feel like would be too slow for some people, but I really liked the angle of the movie, and to me, it really pays off in the very end of the movie. There's not really much else to say about it before we really dig in.
Mm-hmm.
So Here Alone takes place after a strange epidemic seems to have wiped out most of the population. So the main character, Anne, is surviving in the wilderness on her own, avoiding some unknown threat on her wits alone. While scavenging for supplies in a nearby town, she comes across a father and daughter in need of assistance, after which her way of life is inexorably altered. So what did you think about the acting? Do you have any specific memories of it?
I thought it was good.
Yeah.
I think probably that was the strongest point of the movie, is if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
It's very character driven in that way.
Very much so. Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly, like, I think my biggest problem with the movie is it was slow and a little redundant. I remember a specific thing that they kind of did twice in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really kept it from being, like, a better movie, in my opinion, is that they do a process of, like, surviving,
mm-hmm.
and then they do it again and show every little bit of it. And it just feels like, wow, it just feels like they're trying to, like,
fill time.
Yeah, milk time and fill it up with, just not, like, kind of nothing in a way.
I could kind of see what you mean with that. Personally, I didn't really get that impression. I felt like the two scenes served different purposes. I do see how they're totally redundant in that way. I'm pretty sure I know which scene you're talking about, the two scenes that you're talking about. And yeah, the argument is definitely there that it's redundant, but they're trying to show two different things with those. But that's getting way, way into the weeds of something that we can't even talk about it, so... So yeah, I thought the acting was very good in this. And movies with a cast as small as this, there's basically just the three characters. They really all have to be good in order to make something worth watching, and I do think that all three of them were definitely good. The location in which most of the movie was filmed is nice without seeming unrealistically picturesque, which was maybe one of my favorite parts. What did you think about the location?
They were good. I think I liked...
Mm-hmm.
I think I liked most aspects of this movie,
yeah,
including the filming of the locations and
mm-hmm.
the locations themselves.
Yeah,
a lot of the ideas.
Yeah.
Just in general, the
mm-hmm.
like, even the tone of the movie was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the redundancy of the movie and the
mm-hmm.
and the overall, like, feeling like this is taking a long time
mm-hmm.
was, like, the main factor.
So yeah, the camera work is well done and very subtle, not drawing undue focus at the wrong moments, which is something that in a movie with this mood is both easy to do and often done, I feel like. There isn't much music in the soundtrack, and it's pretty much all mood and tension building stuff, atmospherics and the like, which is good, as more of it would have felt at odds with the setting to me. As you might expect, though, the technical elements are more secondary in this film than many others, simply acting as support for the story. A lot of the movie is told through the actions of the characters with little or no dialogue, so if a 15-minute stretch of a movie without speaking sounds just completely excruciating to you, this is probably not your movie. Sam, you don't have a problem with movies with very little dialogue, but you still felt this was a little on the slow side, right?
Yeah, and like I was saying before, it's more the redundancy.
Right.
So it's like, I get that there's not going to be dialogue going through here, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
But when they do the same things over and over in those spaces,
mm-hmm.
It starts to try my patience more than if it was a new thing they're doing.
Yeah.
With no dialogue.
Right.
So that was probably my biggest
mm-hmm.
complaint about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm remembering a lot better, specifically that complaint,
mm-hmm.
than anything else, because it is actually a movie I kind of forgot I watched.
Yeah. Well, I get how, I mean, it's very, there's nothing in it. I mean, with having watched as many horror movies as you and I have, I mean, you haven't watched every movie with me, but you've watched a number of them, and some of them you've watched on your own. Like separately, but still watched them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I do get how this one could sort of blend in. There isn't a ton that makes it stand out a lot, but I thought it was a really solid one. If you don't watch a horror movie every day, I could see recommending it.
That is a big problem, and that's one of the
mm-hmm.
things I actually liked about the movie.
Yeah.
Is it was very much like a lot of horror movies I've seen.
Mm-hmm. But done better.
Yeah, but done better, and had a couple... It wasn't stereotypical of those movies, which, after I've seen so many,
right, it's
like a big thing. But yeah, the look and the feel, I think, probably was intentionally kind of more subtle to, like, be a horror movie.
Yeah. They're not trying to go out of their way to be shocking with the visuals.
Or put their own stamp on the look.
Yeah, they're trying to make it look sort of as realistic as the circumstances.
I would assume so, yeah.
It feels like they're trying to make it look as realistic as the circumstances will allow. And I really like that about it. It feels very much like, okay, so if you watch the TV show, you're just not gonna get this as far as I know. I only watched the first season, but the Walking Dead comics, this reminds me of if you were to have like the Walking Dead comics in a very small insular group instead of the larger group that they have in the comics, in the beginning at least, then this feels kind of like what that would be, where it's more about the people, even though you're in a circumstance where there's a lot going on outside. What you're really focused on is the day-to-day stuff with the people. That's what this movie is. This is like a Walking Dead comic made into a movie, which I really appreciate because I love the Walking Dead comics. I couldn't stand the TV show. I watched the entire first season. Sam, you watched the entire first season too, right? And you didn't like it either.
No, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think I hated it as much as you.
Oh, I hated it.
And I did dislike it quite a bit.
Yeah. And you read the initial comics as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I've read like the first 5 trades.
Something like that. Yeah, I've read around the same. 3, 5, probably 5. I think probably 5. So yeah, I mean, this is what attracted me to the Walking Dead comics. So, if you like the Walking Dead comics, you might consider this movie. If you like the Walking Dead TV show, I feel like you'll be bored to death watching this.
Yeah, the Walking Dead TV show is much more of a TV show.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily bad, but I compare it to the comic, and the comic is less of that.
Yeah. It's there. It exists,
Yeah.
Zombies attack things in that comic too.
And that's the inherent problem with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I still thought it was good, is that it builds tension through scenery and, scenes where nothing happens, like in the comic. And actually, the Walking Dead TV show does that too.
Yeah.
But in a comic, you could just glance at the panels, see that nothing's happening. It builds a tension.
Yeah.
But in both of these, it sits on it, trying to build a tension of what's not seen or what might be coming. Mm-hmm. And it just ends up eating up a ton of the runtime. Mm-hmm. And until the point where
feels sort of decompressed.
Yeah, every time something's going to happen, they cut to some bushes or whatever for a long period of time. And you're just, waiting for the movie to kick in. Our TV show to kick in.
Yeah. So the story itself of Here Alone chooses to focus on the harsh realities that exist in this post-apocalyptic world and the decisions that must be made on the back of those realities, rather than the event that caused them, namely the epidemic. And I almost always prefer that angle to the alternative. That is a line directly from my review, and that's basically me talking about what we just talked about. Like, I'm always going to like the people angle more than the zombie angle in anything like that. And that's the same with any post-apocalyptic anything. I don't care about why nuclear war destroyed humanity. I want to know what's going on with the people now. Is that something that appeals to you as well? Or you like the nuclear attack stuff?
I think either can be good. I think more often than not, the character angle is much more effective.
Yeah.
And it
shows the human cost.
And it's a pretty simple explanation why. Like, humans wrote this.
Yeah.
Who are humans and do human things, so they just put themselves in the human relationship. Very few humans who have wrote stories like this have gone through a post-apocalyptic scenario. Yeah. So they don't have as much frame of reference. Yeah. It's a real write what you know situation, I assume. That's the only thing that really ever made sense to me.
Right.
I could do some examples of where, maybe not, like, and they're still pretty human-based, but, like, the creature / zombie / element is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Is, like, Crossed, if you've ever read that.
Crossed, more
comics. And when they did actually go deeper into why it was like that, it was pretty not great.
Really?
But the Crossed characters / creatures or whatever you would consider them, They're my favorite
The
part.
infected?
Yeah, they're my favorite part. When we cut back to the characters, I feel like I'm in a kaiju movie. I'm like, no, these regular motherfuckers.
Yeah. Well, more on that, basically showing the sickness and not the people involved, and people who have to deal with it. Showing people becoming ill and mass quarantines and looting and those types of things, they definitely can be effective. But what does one do when the battle is over and humanity has lost? How does one survive without society when people tens of generations before you saw the end of learning, the sorts of skills that you need to survive on your own? Nobody fucking knows how to farm. If somebody asked me to grow something right now, I mean, I could probably grow a tomato or a pumpkin.
Pumpkins will let it go. I gotta take a break.
So Sam had to take another break? So Sam took another pee break in the middle of my sentence?
Hey, you could have kept talking.
But yeah, I mean, I could probably grow a tomato or a pumpkin, and that might be it, but you can't live on tomatoes and pumpkins.
The old saying,
Mm-hmm.
You can't live on tomatoes and pumpkins alone.
It's true. Especially since the pumpkins are seasonal. At least you can grow them part of the...
Thanks for ruining my joke. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. Come on.
That's exactly what I was going to say to you.
But anyway, basically, a lot of this story has to deal with, what happens when the pursuit of food and shelter requires more effort and ability than most people have available to them. That's kind of the place where humanity is at this point. So people are not necessarily doing very well. Society is done.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how to do anything anymore.
It's really good
Mm-hmm.
at making you feel the the daily grind of
Mm-hmm.
sustaining yourself
Mm-hmm.
in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Would be
Takes
tough.
everything you have.
Takes a lot of
all
effort.
of your time,
Yeah.
all of your effort. Yeah, I mean, we just do not live in that society anymore, most of us. Thankfully, I guess, thankfully.
I took 3 naps today.
Drank water recreationally.
Yeah, I drank water for fun. And took 3 naps.
And peed 700 times since
wow,
you got
we
here.
could still do that. That's the one luxury
Yeah.
you still get.
Is peeing.
Yeah, peeing.
It's true. So there's really very little else that I can say about the movie without really delving into the story. And if you're into this sort of movie, you know that would be a disservice, I think. The slow build is probably best experienced in a single sitting. Which is unfortunately not how I was able to watch this, because the internet did keep disconnecting as I watched it. But if you can stand it, try to watch it without a break. As to any sort of criticism that I had for this one, aside from being slow, some of the scenes can feel repetitive as the lead's sole focus, as would be in anyone in this situation, is acquiring food, and there's only so many ways to make that feel fresh for an entire movie. Mm-hmm. And I know some of that probably is what makes it feel sort of monotonous.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of it was intentional too.
Yeah, it would be monotonous.
It's the same problem with oh, this character is annoying. Uh-huh. That's why this character is in the movie. Yeah. But then you still have to watch a movie about an annoying character. So it's a hard excuse to not be ooh, this is going to be hard for people to sit through. Yeah. Because this character's annoying and redoing some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. Which it would be annoying in real life. It is annoying. Do you think I wanted to take all 3 of those naps? I had to. Did you think I wanted to drink all that water? No. Interlinked. I had to. But that's the thing. This isn't real life, and it's... Uh-huh. That's my biggest problem with it. And overall, I think the movie's okay. Mm-hmm. To have some really good stuff in it. Mm-hmm. But that makes it harder to... Less enjoyable.
Yeah, less enjoyable.
Less enjoyable is probably the word.
Less palatable. Yeah, I mean, honestly, some people will find this movie nothing but flat and boring. But for those with the patience to see it through, it might be worth your while. If you like stories that take place at the end of a losing battle for our species, definitely give it a watch.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite part is that
it's over.
Yeah, is the after Earth.
Yeah.
esque.
I love those. Honestly, like, as far as post-apocalyptic movies go, when they've sort of given up on trying to rebuild society.
Yeah, they're not like trying to find a cure. They're not trying to rebuild their whatever
their world.
It's like it's over.
Yeah, those are my absolute favorite post-apocalyptic movies. Now, I don't mind people, holding on to the threads of society. That can be totally interesting too, in its own way. But just as a personal preference, when they've given up and all they're trying to do is like continue living and like find reasons why they should continue living.
Yeah, and that's what this movie is really about, and that's its strongest theme. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love those. If you like those, I think this is definitely worth a watch. It's probably not the best of those sorts of media that I've seen or read or whatever. Nothing specifically comes to mind that's better, of course, but yeah, and if you like the Walking Dead comics, not the TV show.
Maybe the TV show.
You think there are definitely parts that are enjoyable.
First, no, not even that. There's just sections of the TV show that remind me of this in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some. I couldn't say which episodes, but there are parts of it. I couldn't say
what episode I was trying to, but then I was like, oh yeah, then that happens, and then they eat a horse, and then
do they eat a horse?
And then they find. No, I won't ruin.
I
Walking
know.
Dead for everybody.
I only remember
they eat the horse on the first episode, so that's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
Or second, one of those.
Very, very early. I remember like 2 parts from that season. One of them is how amazing Glenn is, and he's not in the comics, and I love him.
I remember a lot for it, and I know there is parts that kind of are this section where they're trying to get their footing to
figure
for
out
society.
What's happening, yeah.
But I can't remember when, because I know how the season starts and
how it ends. I definitely remember the end. That was the other part that I remember.
That was one of the reasons I was like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, the ending of the first season? Yeah. Oh, God.
But it's not a Walking Dead podcast.
It was not. No. But that wasn't a Walking Dead episode of the TV show either. TV show. That episode pissed me off so bad. It was just so far. It was so far off. The last episode, or the last maybe 2 episodes, I'm not sure which it takes place over, of the Walking Dead first season made me not watch it. I was on the fence through most of it. I wasn't terribly entertained, but I could see the roots.
There's some good parts that I liked.
Yeah.
And that really turned it. I was like, I don't really need to spend all this time.
Yeah.
All the time was a thing, too, because I feel like this, like I was saying with this movie, which is, how long is the movie? The movie is 98 minutes.
Okay, so just over an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's an hour and a half of my life. Some of the pacing, is whatever, but it's only an hour and a half.
Right.
The Walking Dead is 13 episodes, the first season?
And they're hour episodes, aren't they?
So there's 13 hours of my life. And then I was like, I could watch the second season, or I could not. And I just decided not to.
Yeah, I was actually actively mad about the ending of that, just on the basis of, like, there are definitely there are definitely parts of the comic that get there, but they really build it in. And I felt that just sort of almost came out of nowhere, and it was ridiculous, and it was over the top, and it was just exactly they zigged when they should have zagged. For me personally, as having read those comics and really, really enjoyed them and thought they were something new and unique and different, this felt like just a dumb action movie, Yeah. That's what the last couple episodes
felt like. It turned it way more into
an action
a TV show. I was saying before, it's way more of a TV show.
Yeah. And so I was actually sort of angry about it. Now, that said, that's the season that still had the real writers attached to it, isn't it? So I have no explanation for that. I did hear that things shaped up later around the 4th season. No idea if that's true. But I'm not giving a TV show 4 seasons before I decide whether it's worth watching. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. The 13 hours or whatever that we spent, I mean, maybe it's an hour with commercials, so it's probably 42 minutes an episode, 44 minutes, something like that. Still way too much time when it already has something that it's supposed to be based on. So, that's all. That's our review of The Walking Dead season 1.
Yep, there we go. 3. We did 3 on this one.
We did 3 on this one. I'm counting it. I'm putting it in there. No, I'll put it in the show notes. I won't put it as an actual thing. But yeah, no, very disappointed with Walking Dead. I know that that's an unpopular opinion, but it's just not the comic that I was looking for when I was really excited to hear they were making a TV show of it. I was flabbergasted to hear that they were making a TV show of it because it seemed like it would be so boring and monotonous as a TV show. So instead, they just turned it into like a weird zombie action thing, and I was not into it. Again, I hear they get there, but I'm not giving it 4 seasons. No, for real though, that was our review of Here Alone from 2016. If you liked the Walking Dead comics, definitely give it a shot. It's not exactly the same thing, but it is a truer retelling of that story in the sense of like post-apocalyptic disaster, and like really trying to survive and character driven, like that you might appreciate from that. It feels truer to The Walking Dead than the actual Walking Dead TV show. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like Turbo Kid, maybe. If you like Turbo Kid and also like slow movies, even though Turbo Kid is totally not slow and it's like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen. Sam, what are your feelings on Turbo Kid real quick? It's the greatest, isn't it?
Yeah, Turbo Kid.
Okay, if you want a very much less gory, also more boring, but again, it's like after society has collapsed and like most people are just kind of up to their own, they have to do shit for themselves. Like that's kind of what it is, but it's a more serious, boring, slow version of that. I don't mean that as a criticism, just a more grounded, I guess, version of that without the 80s appeal and all of that. Which yeah.
Sign me out.
Go watch Turbo Kid. It's the greatest thing you'll ever watch on Netflix. Yeah, so that's our episode today where we talked about a bunch of random stuff and Sam peed a bunch and then the cat freaked out. It's been a very eventful episode, wouldn't you say?
Would you say so?
Okay, well, if you enjoyed this podcast, please rate, review, subscribe, whatever it is on whatever site that you found us. The best thing that you can do to help out the show is to share it with someone that you love or someone that you think would enjoy it or someone that's going to get really mad at me because I don't like The Walking Dead and Sam doesn't like The Walking Dead show.
Catch me outside then.
Yeah, catch me outside then. How about that?
How about that?
How about that? I'm not even gonna. I gotta stop. Yeah, if you'd like to share this and the person that you'd like to share it with doesn't have your same platform, or if you don't like the platform that you found us on, you can find us on YouTube, Player FM, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, and Stitcher, and pretty much any podcatcher out there. If you'd like to reach out to us on social media, you can find us at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you can email me at reclusehorror@gmail.com. Sam, do you have any ratings?
Oh, I rate what it was the first one called, Deep End.
No.
Water Sink, Black Water, Water.
Night Swim. Night Swim. Yeah.
Close. I rate that one sick pool. And Here Alone. It is a sick pool. Here Alone, I rate 1,000,000 alones.
1,000,000 alones. That's a lot of alones. 1,000,000 alones. I don't really think I have any ratings for this. Sam, do you have to go pee again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know if I have any ratings for this, and it's not funny if Sam's not here to hear them, so... He laughed. I don't know if you could hear that. But, yeah, so on behalf of Sam and myself, good night.